not fucking around on that. I don't know.
I know.
I'm with you. I'm kind of like, I don't understand how you guys are like hardcore about it, but so have you gotten the shingles vaccine?
Yes.
So did you get the woman the second time? I got the second shot today, and she's like, "Oh, this is going to be death for you. You're going to feel like total absolute shit. It's going to be the worst thing of your life. It'll be 10 Showas. I mean, she was really like giving me the whole spiel.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Does Dr. Mengele have relatives who are practicing medicine? What the hell is going on?
This is like a girl in her 20s and a lady in her 20s, whatever. She said, my husband got it. He went home. He started mowing the grass. Couldn't finish mowing the grass. He was so dead, and he was dead for 24 hours and just couldn't. I was like, okay. She goes, just go home.
Take your because he's a fucking drunk. It's because he's a drunk. It has nothing to do with it.
She was and she said, "Oh, you're gonna feel it in your arm because the viscosity, and it's like peanut butter fudge going into your." Oh, holy shit! This is an incredible warning. I understand you're trying to indemnify yourself.
Britt, she wanted you. That was a come on.
Can I come over to your house?
You don't even recognize. You don't even know it when they're coming on to you. My God.
We can Netflix and chill. I've got daddy issues. I'm going to watch that new Benedict Cumberbatch thing on Netflix. Let's go. That's what happened. That's clearly what happened.
All right.
Yeah, the women that age would have severe daddy issues. Severe if they ever wanted to get one. It would be like intense, unbelievable daddy issues.
No, they'd have to be, how would we say, at the end of the road.
Exactly. Exactly.
Or in movie parlance, you're the last house on the left.
That's correct. Oh, is this the only bathroom I can use? Is this the only rest stop we got? All right, I guess I'll take it. That's fine. Yeah. Whatever.
It's only a movie. It's the Brad and Britt cast. We're glad you're with us on this day with a few fun things on the docket here. And I don't think we need to go 20 minutes on vaccines and stuff because, the news each day becomes more obvious. And it always ends with, if you're not vaccinated, you're an idiot, but get vaccinated. Okay, you'll be an ex-idiot if you get vaccinated.
Right, because it's never too late.
Right. And if you are vaccinated twice or once Johnson & Johnson and you haven't gotten a third shot, you can call it a third shot. You can call it a three-pointer. You can call it a booster. Call it what you want. You need to get that because it's rather clear that 2 is good, 3 is better. There's no question about it. Stop arguing about it. That's it. It's no question there. And that's all. There's just no conflicting evidence to the truth of that. It's just, that's it. Yeah. What do you want? What the hell more do you want? And I know you want your freedom. I understand that. I know. Now, the problem is, Britt, and you have to think about this scientifically. I'm thinking about it scientifically because we have so many people who are still doing the research on vaccine on the first and or second shot. Now they're going to have to do more research into the third shot that they haven't gotten yet, that they won't be getting unless they get the first and or second, which they're still researching. That's the problem, right? There's just too much damn research that needs to be done before these smarter people than you or me, because they just don't follow the crowd. They're not lemmings. They don't just walk off the cliff, right? I do the research.
I have this conversation with somebody who is about the same age as your oldest child, and they have been studying online for biology and stuff. What they'd really like to be is a medical examiner. It's what they want to be. That's something they want to be since they were a kid. They're studying toward that. Yet they don't have any plans to take shot number 1. So I said to them, you need to quit whatever school it is that you're going to online, because clearly you just don't believe in medicine or science. You don't have any belief in it or any faith in it or any inkling that it exists or have any. So just forget it. Just throw that out the window, and you might as well be a clerk at a convenience store, because for all of the shit that you're going through to study science, for you not to take that shot is just stupid as hell. Sorry, but that's how I feel.
Now, if you're going to be the county medical exam, the city medical exam, you have to be a doctor. You have to have an MD after you.
There's something going on there. Yeah, there's something happening there.
So that's a great thing that you brought up, and here's why. And I know that this won't be on the medical school application you might be filling out right now if you've taken the MCATs, which is the SAT or the LSAT for medical school. But at a certain point, you do have to fill out some kind of thing. And I know they don't have the question on there, have you been vaccinated? Do you even believe in vaccinations? And would a medical school be allowed to even ask that question? I mean, you just opened about 300 cans of worms there.
Well, again,
inadvertently, because
I think if you go to a school of arts and sciences and say, I would like to get a biology degree from your school, that should be on the list of things. In order to be admitted to our school of science, you have to say, why haven't you gotten a shot? Well, you have to believe in science to study science. I don't think is that controversial?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mr. Heavy-handed, Mr. Brilliant, Mr. How many degrees in your back pocket do you have? Lecturing to everyone. Hey, I got a question. Is there any way you can get in touch with Robert with Strom Thurmond? Is there any way?
I think I just saw him. Yeah, I'd be able to get in touch with him. I think. What's going on?
Well, they melted down the old Robert E. Lee statue.
Oh no!
It's not just gone. But they are going to melt. Well, they haven't melted it down yet. But City Council in Charlottesville on Tuesday voted to donate the statue. And this is why we need Strom. Ready? Because the melted down remnants of the statue are going to an African American Heritage Center that will, after it's melted, turn the stuff, whatever it is when you melt down metal like that. What is it? Molten something. Into a new piece of public art. So Robert E. Lee will become a trans statue, something else kind of thing.
Trans lives matter.
Trans statues' lives matter. Something like that. I don't know. The vote was 4-0. They argued over this, of course, for years. They argued over getting rid of the statues for probably decades. And they didn't vote until 4 years ago to finally get rid of the statue. And then remember how long it stayed until they finally got rid of it?
Right. It took a long time.
So there were bids that were given to the city. Somebody wanted to get the remnants of the Lee statue and the Stonewall Jackson statue and haul it off. And God knows what else they wanted to turn it into. But this is the choice that they have made, and of course, is Strom there? Can we get him?
Is the machine on? Is the machine on? Testing 1 2 1 2. Is the machine on?
Did you hear what we were just talking about a moment ago, Strom?
I heard you talking about the great Robert E. Lee, who was a very good friend of mine, and apparently a statue honoring his service to the Confederate States of America is going to be melted down, and they're going to have coins with Harriet Tubman's face on distributed to people across all over the great Commonwealth of Virginia.
Right.
I find this to be exceptionally insulting and offensive to those of us who are alive during a period of time know what a great leader General Lee was. It's a terrible thing, and I condemn this action by the people of Commonwealth of Virginia.
All right. So I'm glad you're on the record. Hey, by the way, I have to ask, have you been vaccinated?
I was vaccinated with a Victrola needle, and now I'm hooked on rock and roll.
but not for the coronavirus. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I did get vaccinated and boosted for the coronavirus. Sean Thurman may be a racist bigot, but he's not an idiot. By the way, did you see that production of Annie the other night?
I saw the promotional announcements for it. I saw that Harry Connick Jr. played Daddy Warbucks. He had that bald look. Very smart on him. Good
I do
guy.
appreciate them still keeping a white plantation on him, but that Taraji P. Henson, she's something, ain't she?
Right.
Man.
Oh, very talented. Very good.
Would you happen to have a phone number or some sort of contact for Taraji P. Henson?
Probably a little young for you.
I don't know about that.
Everybody's a little young for you when you think about it. Everybody.
Well, that's right. We got to put the age ain't number. Yeah. 1865, just number. 1957, just number. These are all just numbers.
Britt, when I think about it, you have always thought that Black Lives mattered, haven't you?
I
You've
have.
honored it.
Well, especially the female Black lives, they matter a little bit more than the other ones do, for sure. The one, again, if you are, I'm trying to keep up with the times. If you are a cisgendered, heterosexual, female Black person, your life matters, Sean J. Thurman.
Right.
More than anything in this world.
Right.
Especially if you are Taraji P. Henson.
Settle down. You need to settle down. All right. Anything else we need to go over before we let you go back to sleep for a few more months?
Just more. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Sean J. Thorne once again want to just reaffirm, Brad and Britt, you are a credit to community.
Yes, we are. Strom Thurmond with a brief but of course impactful appearance on the Brad and Britt cast.
It feels like he's trying to get you to sign up for Peacock because I think you can watch Annie on there. I'm not sure. At least get your 30 days. Get that free trial.
Moves over there after.
Yeah.
Oh well, this is okay. You want a crisis on that? Here's a crisis.
Oh no.
I guess 27 days ago, I re-upped and got back into Disney Plus, so I could watch the Beatles thing. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a week or so before it came on, and they had a come on deal, $2.99 for the month, right? So I said, okay, I'll $2.99. I'm there. So I did it. Now here we are, the weekend before my $2.99 blows up, and then it of course goes to $8.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to hang in for at least another month. So now I'm at $11 to watch the Beatles thing.
I'm $11. Would you like to know my shame? I would like to tell you my shame. Right. I have decided at the end of November, one of my favorite TV shows of all time is called Red Zone from the NFL Network. It only comes on Sunday, and they have all of the games, and they're
I know it. I was watching it the other day. Absolutely.
So in order to get it, I had to sign up for Sling TV, but they had a promotional thing. Essentially, I signed up for a month, 4 Sundays of NFL Red Zone for $20. So I have it for another couple of weeks. Yeah,
a lot of money.
It is
for 20 stuff for that.
I mean, I can watch other stuff too in between, but really the only reason that I got the damn thing is to treat myself for the holidays, to watch a few weeks of the Red Zone, because it turns out my team isn't doing all that well. They may have peaked Thanksgiving night.
Hey, just no judgment zone on that kind of stuff.
When you break it down into like 4 Sundays, it's only $5 a pop, and so I think we're good on that. We're doing all right.
Yeah, that's just fine. That's just fine. Hey, we got a couple of different polls in the news, and we try not to react to every poll that gets publicly released. We try not to, but sometimes if they're outliers and they catch our attention, we go with them. Poll number 1, this is taken fairly, okay. Wall Street Journal, Republicans with huge gains from Hispanic voters. A generic congressional ballot now has the Hispanics moving 30 points towards Republicans. And in a Donald Trump-Joe Biden rematch, it's about a dead heat. And as you know, Democrats have always had a much larger share of Hispanic voters. In the last election, one of the reasons that the Republicans almost took the House, and I think one of the lefty media bias things, and we can point these out, we can be fair about this. It is lefty media bias and wishful thinking to label Donald Trump as a loser, not just because he got beat in the presidential election, but you hear this phrase always. Ready? And he lost the Senate and he lost the House. Okay? Now, yes, the Senate went 50-50 Democratic by a nose because of Kamala Harris's nose, because Trump was an idiot and blew it in Georgia for the two Republican
That is directly attributable to Donald Trump. That one is for sure.
Right. But in the House, the Democrats did terribly. They lost a lot of seats and they came close to losing the House. And as you know, it's the trend that matters. And the trend in 2020 was Republicans picking up seats, a lot of them. I don't know the exact number. Mm-hmm. And that was before the gerrymander that is going to be in place next November.
Correct.
And South Florida would be the epicenter for the shift, where a couple of Democratic Congress people lost their seats in liberal Miami-Dade County to what I consider to be the demagoguery of Republicans. But we're not judging the the quality here. We're judging the quantity. And the setup for Democrats is not good in 2022. And of course, there are 100 things that could happen that could change that, including that the economy improves even more than it has. And somehow the Democrats are actually able to get the fucking message out, and things like that. There are some possibilities.
A little frustration there.
Right. But this poll is worth noting because it could be a more national example of what may have been brewing down there in South Florida. That's all I have to say about that particular poll.
And this is generally where you pipe up and go, it's time for us to stop referring to Hispanic voters as some sort of monolithic thing. There's a huge difference between there's a big difference between a third generation American of Cuban descent in South Florida and a third generation American of Guatemalan descent in suburban Chicago and a first generation American of Mexican descent in West Texas. So the Hispanic,
But a poll like this does not discriminate. It just brings up the whole big number. So it obviously includes all of those groups. So my previous criticism would never apply in such a massive movement if in fact it's real. And we don't know that it's real. We'd have to see supporting polls. Right. But it's worth paying attention to. Poll number two. Young Democrats more likely to despise the other party. Axios. College students who would not go out on a date with someone who's a Republican. 71% of college students who are Democrats say, I ain't going out with some Republican college student. And that's a lot. Only 31% of Republicans say they wouldn't go out with a Democratic college student. 30% of Democrats wouldn't work for someone who voted differently from them, but I guess 70% would. Okay, that's not bad. 76% of women would work for someone who voted for the other candidate versus 86% of men. So that probably includes older people besides just college students. But I guess the bottom line is dating someone versus working for them is different. It is not the same. You don't have to love your boss's political views. You don't have to discuss them with him necessarily. You can be on the other side of things and work with them. But if you want to take that and use that as well, that's just proof that the country is divided against itself. I can't say right now that I have any overt Republican friends, that I have any overt right-winger friends. Got none. How about you?
Yeah, I've got a few, and I'm shared DNA with a few. So yeah, there's that. And this seems like an easy salve to people who are like, boy, those Republicans are pretty intolerant, and they can just wait, what about this poll here? Which again, I don't see an equivalence, and I think that's ridiculous, but that's fine. If people want to
obviously it's not equivalent because Republicans suck way more. So if you are a Democrat, you have every right to not want to be near these people because they may be anti-vaxxers, they may be Trumpers, they may think that Joe Biden is not the president, right? They may think that transgender, Muslim, and anyone who is the other should be run out of the country. So that might be a good reason to not want to date them. So I'm up with that. I'm down with that.
But this
they may think that if your father rapes you, you need to carry the child.
It's a term, right?
I don't want to date you if you think that. Okay, I don't want to date you. If that
one side bitches when they lose an election, one side overruns the Capitol and tries to murder people. So there's it's like this is whataboutism and equivalence and fair and balanced. And this will be brought up at your Christmas giving, at your Christmas dinners and stuff. Well, the poll said that they wouldn't even date somebody. By the way, this has been true of Republicans for 40 years. So, now that the Democrats are catching up, congratulations. I'm happy for you. God damn it. I mean, seriously, this is not like an equivalency thing at all. It can't be.
I think, Britt, you should bring that to your family's Christmas dinner. Okay.
He goes, I went to, when the Democrats were doing their protests in early 2017, and this was the women wearing the pussy hats and marching and stuff, which I fully supported. And I was, I remember, and it happened very close after the election. It was in late 2016, early 2017. I remember at Christmas, my uncle, who's always been a fairly hardcore Republican, said, well, gee, I just don't remember all of those Republican protests when Obama won. And I was like, it was called the Tea Party. you might remember it. It happened it's kind of a thing that went on. They had costumes. There was stuff that was going on all over the place.
You know what you should do, and you can find it in 3 seconds. You call up that picture, that meme that somebody put of watermelons on the front lawn of the White House. Remember that one?
I do remember.
How many times have you seen that one?
Of course.
I know it doesn't count as much as protests in the street. I get that. But
what about that giant Trump baby diaper thing? What about that? It's always like a fair and balanced. Oh, there's an equivalent. It's completely the same. So you don't. Here's the other thing I would just like to say about this, because you're not really into you don't really do the Christmas thing. I'm just going to say, when it comes to these arguments, you never really win them. So don't engage in this shit. I mean, you can get a nice zing in here, you can get a one-liner, but it's time you got to kind of stick and move when it comes to that stuff, because you don't win these arguments.
Wait, but here's the problem. I mean, we're now past 1 year from the previous election. We're coming up on 1 year of Joe Biden being the illegitimate president. We'll pass 1 year since January 6th, and Trump is still ruining holidays. Mm-hmm. He's still ruining holidays.
I just have to tell you that one of the things that drives me absolutely bonkers, and it still persists to this day, is that you will hear some right-wing dipshits say that there was a period in history where they were not allowed to say Merry Christmas. That's a thing that they still believe, and that Trump restored that to America. Now, I don't know if Joe Biden has stripped that again and has started beating and imprisoning people for saying Merry Christmas.
When was the last time you heard Merry Christmas, Britt? The answer is during Trump's administration. I haven't heard it all year. I'll tell you what, I think you're wrong on this.
There are people that will tell you this, and they'll say it with a fucking straight face. And all of this originated from like one story in a Target somewhere in bumfuck South Dakota, where they were like, please just don't say that.
There's really there's a more important example
than
that, because we know that's just total bullshit, right? And this is the culmination of what we know to be if you repeat a lie long enough and with enough vigor and with enough false reassurance that you're speaking the truth, that it will start to stick.
Yeah.
And this hasn't just stuck among right-wingers, Trumpers, people who are in the tank for him, but it's moved over into more mainstream press coverage. And I'm talking about the big ones, the ones you think would know better, that they don't qualify this phrase every time it's uttered or written with quotes around it, air quotes. And the phrase is the Russian hoax. Okay.
Yeah.
There was no Russian hoax.
Right.
It was not a hoax. It happened. They did conspire and plot and scheme with Russians in 2016. And it continues to this very day. And by Trump and the rest of them continuing to say the Russian hoax, right? And then they say, well, Robert Mueller didn't do anything. Robert Mueller didn't say it was a hoax. No, he didn't. He didn't say it was a fucking hoax. But it doesn't matter. And that is in the water. And that's really an example of bad shit.
Well, this is an important discussion, because what you're talking about is a successful conflation by the Trump people, Fox News, and the rest of the right-wing media to conflate the Russian problems with the Steele dossier. That is what they've been able to do. That is part of
it. Oh, no doubt about it.
That they've been able to, every time somebody said, well, you changed the actual platform of the Republican Party at the convention so that the Russians would not be punished. Oh, you're into that Steele dossier shit. No, I didn't say word one about a Steele dossier. And they will conflate that shit with you all day long.
I think you're getting too intellectual there. I think you can sum up the dismissal of everything having to do with the Steele dossier with, well, since there's no video of Donald Trump watching two prostitutes pee on each other in Moscow, right. Everything in there has no basis and is wrong. Right?
It's all fake, right?
Right. And it's just part of an unfair attack on the wonderful character of Donald Trump. So,
but if you go back and you go clearly through Donald Trump's progression, his cozying up to the Russians, the possible money laundering going back more than 30 years, the breaks that he gave to the Russians when he was actually in office, all of those things, those are all, I mean, that's not even controversial stuff. That fucking happened. So, but then they'll go, oh, there you go with that Steele dossier. No, I didn't say anything. I was talking about him telling the Ruskies we're going to bomb Syria before we could bomb Syria, and the Syrians can get their shit out of the way. That's one of the reasons. That's just one example of what I'm talking about with Russia. He gave them sweetheart deals on everything. He punished them for nothing. And now that we're seeing this is mind blowing. Now that we're seeing the Russians trying to, flex their guns when it comes to Ukraine. Now we're seeing the hardcore chicken hawk Republicans come out now, right? They're talking tough about bombing the shit out of Russia and stuff. That's actually happening.
Well, I haven't heard any Republicans calling for war like that, but they are reveling. They are reveling in the position that Joe Biden is in, and they are reveling at what they perceive to be his weakness as it relates to Putin, that Putin has the advantage over him. Look how terrible he looked on that phone call on Zoom on Tuesday. Putin owned him. And Republicans, they are cheering for Putin. Yeah. They're back to, remember Trump threw out, I can't remember when it was, maybe during the campaign, what a strong leader Putin was.
I remember this.
What an admiring guy. And then he would fake qualify it with anyone he's a dictator, but he's a great guy. He gets stuff done. Remember that? Well, Fast forward now to today, and Republicans and Fox and the usual suspects, they are reveling in whatever position the United States is in right now vis-a-vis Putin and Ukraine and negotiations back and forth, if there should be any negotiations. I don't see what there is to negotiate. It's don't even fucking think about parking your tanks over there, right? They
here's our negotiation. Stay the fuck away from Ukraine. That's the negotiation.
Right. But the Republican Party is now really the Russian party. And I have an idea here. I think they should put up billboards right now, split the billboard 50-50. Here's your Republican ticket for 2024, Trump and Putin. Putin can be his vice president. And he can't run. He wasn't born here. Shut the fuck up, okay? We're having fun here with this. But I would do that. I would absolutely tie Trump, and by definition Trumpism, and by definition extension Republicanism, to Putin. And let's see if that flies with voters. And that's not going to be issue number one. It never is. It's always the economy, stupid, and the gas price. I know that. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you want to be running for president as the pro-Russian guy. But maybe it doesn't matter to these people. Maybe they don't care. They would rather have Putin own Joe Biden, who, by the way, is the president of the United States, and therefore is kind of, for this sake of the argument, the United States. They would rather have that happen than for there to be a positive outcome and for Putin to back down or do the right thing, or realize that if he really did start a shooting war with Ukraine, that it really would draw all of Western Europe, all of NATO, and us into some kind of armed conflict. And Putin doesn't want that. He can't afford that. His economy is totally in the shitter. And the wild card, which isn't so wild, is, and you may have heard of this, it's the coronavirus. The fucking Russians are dying like flies over there. Because I think the number is they only have about 30% of their population vaccinated, and the vaccine is probably vodka based. Okay, so they're not even using real shit. And vodka based. And you know, we finally found the one thing on the planet that Vladimir Putin can't put in prison, can't poison, can't intimidate, can't push off a building and have it die so that it goes away, and can't have the media pretend it doesn't exist, because people know when their relatives and friends and coworkers are dying of a disease. They know about it in Russia. You can't cover it up. So Biden knew this. We know this. I don't know whether Republicans acknowledge this, but Putin is not in a position to do with Ukraine what he did a few years ago with Crimea, which is marching. Because other Ukrainians are much more substantial people than little Crimea there, and I don't know all the ethnicities involved, but again, I don't think that Putin is going to play this game, which he played the last time he invaded and took over a part of that area that really wasn't his Crimea, where he, well, you know, the people in Ukraine love me. They all speak Russian. They remember that shit. They're all ethnic Russians anyway.
They're begging for me to come over. They want me to come over.
They want me. Absolutely. They're dying for me to come in there. I don't think that one's flying either. That does not work.
This was on the Neil Cavuto show yesterday. This is Roger Wicker, the Republican senator from Mississippi.
God almighty. Could you get someone with an IQ above 12? Stop.
Well, first of all, he's a Republican senator, so you're asking for a lot. He floats the idea of troops on the ground and a nuclear strike against Russia. He wasn't the only one. There was someone else that did. By the way, go ahead.
I love the quote. I would not rule that out. Who the fuck asked you? Who allowed you to rule it in? Who asked you? I would not rule it out. Oh, so now senators are in charge of our nuclear arsenal? Whoa, who knew?
Now, I know, and Roger Wicker is a minor player, but if you ask somebody who's a little more powerful, like a Lindsey Graham, what do you think Lindsey Graham would say about this, Brad?
I don't know whether he would say the same thing. As much as Lindsey Graham Lindsey Graham is not a specific warmonger, as far as I know.
He's pretty hawky. He gets pretty hawky about some shit. I don't know if he'd say we're going to blow the shit out of him.
You know, I think there are a lot of hawks that don't want to go to war with Russia, Britt. They don't.
I don't know if he'd immediately say we need to blow the shit out of him, but I think he would talk pretty tough about some obvious military action against those guys. Hopefully, he'll be asked soon. and we will be able to get rid of the hypotheticals. But I feel like somebody fairly powerful. Now, other people like, Mitch McConnell, who has a tremendous grip on the Republican Party, he would not be in favor of that. I'll grant you that. Tucker Carlson went on his own network saying that the people who went on Fox News and talked tough on Russia were stupid and idiotic and should die. So that was the Tucker Carlson 9 o'clock show.
I agree with Tucker Carlson. Sorry.
Sure. Well,
agree with him on that one. Yep.
Well, the stop clock is right twice a day. That's exactly correct.
Yep.
So that's there's part of what's going on. I believe that we've had some matriculation in the Mark Meadows situation.
Fuck this guy.
As I'm 100% on board with that statement. The January 6th committee now says it will move to hold former Trump chief of staff Mark Meadows, who did the hokey pokey for a minute and now decided he's putting his left foot out. He will not be cooperating with the January 6th committee. So now, hopefully, he will go to jail for contempt of Congress, Brad.
Well, yeah, it wasn't his choice to make.
Exactly.
See, this is where the disconnect is right now, a year later, after what happened on January 6th. It's almost a year later now. That these people, and they are all now private citizens, they are no more able to marshal the power of government or the shields that it provides to members of the government to do terrible things than you or I have. Mm-hmm. But they're acting like Donald Trump, the president in exile, still has the same ability to lord something over them. This question that you push forward whenever you talk about these kinds of stories, not you, but all of us, mm-hmm. And this is another case where what the fuck do these people think Donald Trump has on them? I mean, we can make all the mafia references and the Don and the with one look, they would be swimming with the fishes and things of that sort. All we want. Okay, we can do that. And we know that Trump gave orders without explicitly saying, do this or do that. And everybody knew what he wanted to do, and they did it for him. Okay, while he was president, he was a piece of shit mafia Don, the same way he ran his company and the same way he covered up sexual abuse and rape and all this kind of shit that he was probably involved in. And all the business dealings that he's a complete crook and thug and liar and cheater who should be in prison longer than Bernie Madoff. All that's true. But now he's not the president. He has no power. He has no power. And please do not tell me that Mark Meadows is now cowering in fear and reversing himself if he ever was really going to cooperate with the committee, because Donald Trump is offended at things that were written in his book. And so Mark Meadows doesn't want to offend Donald Trump because he inadvertently and accidentally and on purpose may have told the truth about things that happened with the coronavirus in January 6th about Donald Trump in a book, things that he wrote in a book, and he doesn't believe he can say them in public, as if writing a book is not saying things in public. Because what does Donald Trump have those new drones, the ones that are bombs, that when you walk out of the Capitol after you've testified, you will immediately be eviscerated? What are they afraid of from this guy? Mark Meadows is not running for office again. No. He's washed up. He's done. He'll never do shit again.
Does he need money? Is he someone who needs money?
What? Where's the money coming from? Does this help him make more money? No.
This is the other thing that they somehow feel like if they attach themselves to the Trump organization, it's a pipeline for cash into their pockets.
Yeah. Name me 3 people that have ever attached themselves.
Okay.
The last 7 years.
Jared Kushner, Donald Trump Jr., and Ivanka Trump.
Yeah.
No, nobody that's not part of the family gets paid, you dumb fucks. If you haven't figured this out yet, holy shit. If your name isn't Trump, or if you didn't marry a Trump, you don't have the money. You don't get the money, you dumbasses.
Yeah. If I was Devin Nunes, the first thing I would do is demand that my salary be paid in advance before I start to work at whatever non-existent, never going to exist entity that is going to make Twitter cower and beg for forgiveness for ever
Isn't that
banning
the-
Trump.
Isn't
because
that
it's gonna be
guaranteed
so
money?
powerful.
Isn't that guaranteed money in NFL terminology? Isn't that what they call
Yeah,
that?
it's a
Guaranteed
yeah,
money?
it's like a signing bonus. I want a signing bonus. The money
We'll-
now, Don.
We'll give it to
on.
you in Bitcoin. We're mining for it right now. We
Right.
don't have it exactly on hand, but we're going to get some Bitcoin to you immediately.
Right.
We haven't talked specifically about this thing in Georgia where Stacey Abrams is running to be the next governor of Georgia. And then Brian Kemp, the guy who's going to be running, is hated by Donald Trump. So he's going to support David Perdue. That's the endorsement there. And it looks like he's going to try to get involved. He's going to decide this Senate race. I'm reading from the Mother Jones article because they did this. An initial survey of 500 Georgians found that 41% would vote for Brian Kemp, 22% favored David Perdue. But then the respondents were then advised that Trump had endorsed Perdue, and that put the knowledge of that, put them at 34% apiece. That tied it. Once they found out that Perdue was Trump's guy, he is on even keel with this guy.
Actually, this is the best news ever. This is the best news ever that Trump is apparently, I could be wrong about this, is a guy who doesn't seem to learn from his mistakes. Okay. Because if you like what he did in 2020 to help get John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock elected, then you're going to love what he's doing right now, because this is kind of this is salting the earth ahead of even the primary.
Pre-salting.
Because first of all, Donald Trump has never said, oh, by the way, elections in Georgia are free and fair, and you can believe the result. He told people to stay home the last time, and they listened to him. So, first of all, he's going to have to renounce that. Second of all, he's going to have to come clean on all the things that he did after the election with the Secretary of State Raffensperger, who he's also trying to get kicked out, right? They're trying to dump him.
Of course,
because he did the right thing.
But Raffensperger post-election has been carrying the Donald Trump Kool-Aid. He's been trying to gerrymander, make it more difficult to vote, do all of the things that Donald Trump wants.
Yeah, but Britt, that's not enough. That means nothing.
That's not going to work.
The only thing that matters is that he couldn't find 11,870 votes for him on the phone call. So everything else, you are correct. He is a Republican. That's what they do. But he had some integrity when it most mattered for the country. It's like Liz Cheney. You can't pick and choose. When somebody does the right thing, you say, all right, good thing, glad you did it. But this has to blow up Republican prospects, no matter which one of those two. David Perdue, he ought to go back to that chicken business that his family is in, right? He's part of the empire, isn't he?
He's the guy, yeah.
Takes a tough man to make a tender chicken, isn't he?
That's exactly right. That's a good job on it.
That's right. And his sister used to be the governor of North Carolina, right? Beverly Perdue.
Right. Yeah. Right? Well, she was terrible. We hated her so much. So bad.
Right. So he's splitting up the party. He's pissing them off against each other. And if I was Stacey Abrams, and I am not, I think this is great news for her. And remember, the only reason she lost the last time to Brian Kemp in 2018 is because he was then the Secretary of State. Correct. And got at least 50,000 people knocked off the rolls for spurious reasons at best. So he was a specialist in voter suppression. And now he's only the governor who's trying to hang on for dear life. And the Secretary of State is not that guy anymore. He's not Kemp. Raffensperger, yes, I get it. But he's not going to do the things that Kemp was doing the last time. So I think this is just great news. Get in there, Donald. Fly in there. Fly into that big Atlanta airport. Take that little subway thing that goes beneath the terminals and have little things down there. Just do everything. Go everywhere, right? Why don't you go to the Jimmy Carter Library, okay, and make fun of Jimmy Carter and say that Joe Biden is Jimmy Carter. Do really hilarious, clever shit like that. Get in there. You do.
I don't see him coming too close to Atlanta. If he flies into Atlanta, he'll get the fuck out as soon as possible. I think there's too many non-white people in Atlanta for Donald Trump to feel terribly careful. I think he's more of a Cedartown guy. He's going to be one of those.
I know. Yeah, he goes to the like that district up in the north western part of Georgia, the Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That's it. Yeah, Cedartown.
That whole area. Yeah, no, you're right. Of course,
I can't do Atlanta. That's just a little too ethnic for me. I won't be able to feel very safe there.
Right. Not his kind of place. However, if you tell him that the fried chicken in Atlanta is world class and it's not all from the Colonel.
That's right.
That I'm sure there's some legendary places in Atlanta.
Unreal.
Absolutely. Yeah. That you might be able to draw him in to the town that's too busy to hate. Right? Remember that? That was their slogan.
But Donald Trump is the man who's never too busy to hate.
Right. Oh man, we just gave him a slogan. Oh my God.
We're not going to do any better than that.
We stumbled on something.
The man never too busy to hate. Oh, that's great. Oh. Well, we can't top that. We got to go. That'll be.
You ever get a feeling Donald Trump was one of those people that wrote the racist letters to Hank Aaron after Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record?
It's so.
He could have been one of those people.
They would read those letters when I was watching the baseball thing, and it would be whoever Ken Burns had reading that, and it was so awful and terrible, but it was also like, how could you believe that someone would sternly sit down and write that? And it was dear N-word, and the guy would write down, and then he would talk about this, that, and the other, and it's like,
well, the answer in isolation, you're right, but when you think about all the text messages and voicemails that you've heard in the last week, that have come in to various politicians from AOC across the board, then those letters to Hank Aaron, they happen. They're real. It never changes. It never changes. They're still doing it.
Babe Ruth, overweight white guy. Donald Trump, overweight white guy. Yeah. I'm starting to see a pattern here.
No, but Donald Trump, the man never too busy to hate. I love it. Let's not forget that one. That and the billboard with
the Russians,
Trump and Putin.
Trump and Putin as the running boots.
That's your 2024 ticket, Republicans. You want it? You got it. We'll see you tomorrow.